In the big bilge tank, we'll keep you in the know. In the big bilge tank, we'll fix your techie woes.
Then we'll break things and we'll make things so we're all together raking, and
We'll raise a cup of grog down in the big bilge tank. In the big bilge tank, come and join our pirate crew. In the big bilge tank,
We will show you what to do.
and we'll hack it till we crack it.
then we'll tell the world about it and forget to tidy up.
That's why it's now a bilge tank.
Hi, welcome to Bilge Tank 053. We now have more bilge tanks than there are in a standard pack of cards.
Do we? How many? Oh yeah.
Well,
2-card pickup. I know that game well.
yeah. I suppose it's just slightly more. But we have got a couple of jokers. That makes it all right. So I'm here with Phil and Sandy. Yeah.
Oh.
Phil has more hair than me. Sandy has,
Slightly more.
yeah, just average in the right place.
I still haven't had mine cut after I hacked it off with a pair of scissors, so it's
Really?
still a bit
This
weird.
is, yeah, hence the big tail. So this week we've got exciting stuff. We've got the long-trailered trial of pizza toast and burger toast toppings. Phil has suspiciously gone on an elimination diet just before we got around to tasting them. The timing just seemed a little suspicious to me,
So,
Phil.
yeah, I'm drinking chamomile tea, man. How much more proof do you want?
Okay, yeah, that's fair sacrifice. Nobody watching the chat this week, so we'll just respond as we see stuff. So, yeah. After that, Phil will be talking about, mildly ranting.
Mildly ranting. I'm
Yeah.
not the biggest fan of Node, but I've enjoyed putting together a Node.js node. So or Node-RED node.
You got the Explorer
It's
app
cool.
working
It's
just
working
in like a
pretty
couple
well.
of days, hacking around, just doing your thing.
And that's established a pattern for doing, dare I say, everything else now.
Yeah.
And I've started a GitHub repository into which to cast those delightful things.
At which point we'll hopefully merge that with Node-RED, so all official
Yeah.
stuff, and we'll have that little pirate
Right.
folder there.
Dare I say this is better than the SenseApp one. So.
Yeah, but then those improvements can be folded back into the community.
Oh yeah, quite so.
Sharing, caring.
That's how open source works.
Simon spotted the stickers that we've got.
Stickers? No, there are no
Yay,
stickers.
No
No.
stickers.
No stickers. We might give away some stickers today.
Do appear to have a small stack there. Those are really nice. Those stickers. I've been waiting for one of those for a long time.
Yeah, it's kind of been
Pirate
overdue,
Head.
but we had good stickers before. These are the first kind of officially actual Pirate Head stickers we've done, just because
Yeah,
we happen
it's
to
true,
be
this
ordering some more stickers. They were from stickermule.com. Highly recommend them. I kind of put the design up, ordered it. 10 minutes later, it said your digital proof will appear in 10 hours. 10 minutes later, it came. So I just kind of looked at it and it said, "Yeah, looks like a freaking pirate.
I
Approved."
don't understand the difference between hours and minutes.
And then they shipped it from the US via UPS, and it arrived like yesterday.
Nice.
So we'll find a way to give away those stickers that is kind of slightly less temporal dependent, because we know
that's a good point, yeah.
there's often a bit of a dog pile, and people on the right side of our hosting provider get first dibs at competitions. Anyway, we've put it off long enough. We've got glasses of water.
Do you want me to heat any of them up?
Do we have a sick bucket anywhere? We've got a bucket
not
down
so
there,
much.
don't
No, but we can get the window open pretty
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah, I think if we kind of balance it nicely on the surface,
So-
then it should wipe clean.
we? So I think we've got Les Pounder to thank for these.
Yes,
Yeah.
we have indeed.
It's
Thanks,
a Les
Les.
Poundland special, Pounderland special.
Yeah,
I
Pound
think they
Land.
came from Asda actually. I
Really?
remember, yeah, I think he said they were Asda.
Why would a reputable company like Asda? Let's get these on the close-up.
These are obviously a real thing, surely.
Yeah.
Get the ingredients on the.
So we've got ingredients list, and we've also got the instructions, which are also super
Right.
exciting. So
Let's go through this.
let's have a look at those.
Water, beef, pork fat.
Is that the first ingredient? Water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. So these are you're buying a tin of water.
So this is the beef burger flavour one. Cornstarch, pork rind, beef fat, tomato puree, onion powder, sugar, beef stock, soya, vegetable protein,
Vegetable
salt,
protein.
mustard, colouring, paprika, black pepper, oregano, and flavour enhancer.
Suffice to say,
Flavour
they're not
enhancer.
vegan.
Was there any point really?
It's the last thing on the list. They put a very small amount of it in.
And then they've got these brilliant instructions right here.
Mm-hmm.
We're basically doing actions right now. if
So
anyone's
what's in the
familiar.
other one? Can you get the ingredients for the pizza one?
Hold on, I'll rotate them both so you can see instructions and ingredients at the
Mhm.
same time.
So this one's pretty much got the same stuff in it.
That's
really.
not puree.
It's got chicken in it, this one.
Mechanically separated chicken.
Oh,
Yes! My
Mm.
favourite.
Nice.
Almost meat. Man.
They look
Yeah.
absolutely hideous. They're a bit like cat food or dog food.
The
Really.
burger one is especially
can't-
like cat
I
food.
can't actually get it.
The picture of a guy enjoying it is him basically just looking at it in disgust before he throws it away.
Let's look at
What
that is
the-
quality.
what is that?
You know, they say golf is a good walk ruined. That's a good tomato ruined.
That's actually the better looking one. This one is absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna sniff this one
It's
too.
Oh,
I think you've just ruined your
It's
elimination diet.
Yeah, try. I've got a contact poisoning.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are not appetizing
Salubrious.
at all.
Yeah.
Just, ooh.
So now me and Sandy are going to eat them. Right.
Seriously though, if you want me
So-
to warm them up slightly before.
apparently
I
the
think
recommended serving suggestion is on toast with melted cheese on the top. So
Yep. So we did that. Do
um,
you want to separate that one in half? Because,
yeah, we'll
Quarters.
half this one. Yeah.
yeah. We dropped one.
You're very brave.
It didn't make anything worse.
Are you eating the top one?
Yeah.
It's just you. Right.
Yeah. Get that down to a really small amount.
Yeah.
We've become that
I'm
show.
still not going to have a whole quarter. I don't
Pizza
think.
toast.
Nah, it's like shots, man. You got to do the whole thing.
Oh God.
So this time you have the tequila afterwards. To for a
So
sip.
this is the pizza one, I think.
So there we
Stay
go.
out of the fire
Nice little bit of
alarm.
melted mature cheddar.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Delightful. Say what you taste.
Mmm.
It's actually not that bad.
They smell horrendous.
So you know when you get tinned meatballs and they have the tomato sauce?
Yeah.
It's like that,
So
where,
it's like-
where the bit of the meats run into the tomato.
It's
Yeah.
actually,
It's like meaty tomato sauce then.
it's actually not terrible.
Yeah,
This one
I've had
is-
pizzas that taste a little bit like that.
It's mostly water and tomato puree, yeah, so it is basically tomato sauce with a small amount of...
Yeah,
Yeah.
passes muster.
Chicken in it,
We now have to eat the rest of it within 24 hours, apparently.
yeah, yeah. Oh, you can see it just dribbling down there. Nice.
Exuding fats.
We'll leave this in the kitchen with a free sign on the thing.
Yes.
See if there are any takers.
Okay, let's do the burger. This is the one I'm dreading.
Someone's bound to have a dog.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm smelling them from here. They're really bad.
Come on.
Oops.
Oh, the birthday cake was wonderful compared to this stuff.
The birthday cake was amazing.
True. We need more birthday cakes.
And now the
We need
Great
more
British
events,
Bake Off is back.
which I haven't seen because
Yeah. I wouldn't watch it, it's definite food porn.
no, it's
yeah.
it's probably going on tonight.
Okay,
Yep.
down the
Cheers.
hatch.
Oh. Well, no total looks of disgust, so that's a fairly good start.
It's a bit just like mince, kind of on toast.
No, there's some herbs in there or something. I think the flavour enhancer has worked. That's actually not
like
filthy.
baby
It's quite salty, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
A bit garlicky.
I think if you went into... So, you go to Glasgow, you ask somebody to point you to the worst area of Glasgow, and then once you get there, you ask somebody very politely, which is the worst burger joint. I think you'd have a burger not entirely unlike that. It's just kind of, it's almost but not entirely unlike a burger.
Are these like kebab shop burgers? Because I always like those. You know when you get chili burger, it's just like a
Yes.
thin burger.
They actually have
With
deep
chili sauce.
deep fried cheeseburgers in Scotland. So essentially it's just a burger with a bit of cheese on the top, dipped in batter and then deep fried.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Why can't you get
Tastes
deep
quite
fried
like that,
anything in the UK? I tried to
You
order
can.
a deep fried pizza from a pizza place once and they just hung up.
Right. No, you go to Bakewell, chip shop there.
Clearly not in Scotland.
No, clearly not in Scotland.
In Bakewell, there is a nice Austrian cafe, but there is also a chip shop that will do you deep fried cream eggs at Easter, which is
that's good.
about the best way to do a cream egg, I think. Yeah. Right. Anyway, so not fatal, not actually that unpalatable. I mean, I'm reasonably hungry because I skipped breakfast, but
Could have those back.
not hungry enough to overlook the quality of those.
Oh.
They're on par with any toast topper I've ever had in history.
They definitely don't.
So, thank you, Mr. Pounder. That was
Delicious.
yeah. I'm now going to take an incidental large swig of coffee.
Yes, swill it around my mouth.
Right. We'll see how many people we can fool into trying that. I'm actually going to eat an apple just then. Right. So, Phil, tell us about your Node-RED journey.
Node-RED journey. Let's get
What is Node-RED?
the close-up thing. So,
Sandy,
Node-RED, as far as I'm aware, is a project by IBM to kind of enter the Internet of Things domain, jump on the Internet of Things bandwagon because Internet of Things is all the rage these days. And it's a visual system of wiring stuff together, and it's not like wiring basic signals together. It's a sort of message interchange system. So each individual node sends out messages that have a topic and a subject, not entirely unlike MQTT. So they're talking this sort of not rigidly defined protocol to each other. So you can have a node that connects to Twitter and gets tweets and emits them as messages, and then you can have another node that picks out the ones that are relevant to your interests, and then another node that transforms that into an action. And then finally another one that makes a light turn on or off in response to that action.
And it's now included with Raspbian, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And it's this thing where IBM used to be like massively corporate. They were Microsoft before Microsoft were Microsoft. But
Nobody
then
ever got fired for buying IBM.
yeah, probably about 15 years ago, they kind of slightly changed tone and went from kind of a hardware company to more a services company, or emphasised the services they were already doing. And they started doing more of this cool stuff where they kind of go open source, support the community. The kind of moves that Microsoft are doing more now.
Yeah.
So they were doing it way before it was popular, which is good on them. And Node-RED is one of the outfalls of that. It has one suspicious button that is publish to IBM Bluemix, which is the bit where they kind of turn you upside down and beat money out of you, I think.
Oh, I see.
But that's fair enough, isn't it? So, right, let's have a look at this. This is your Node interface.
I've plugged in a mouse because it's not very friendly with the pointy touchy thing.
So you've got a Pi here on the back of a monitor. Sorry, we'll just get the authentic
Tasty
Scotto
treats.
vegan treats that Sandy brought back from Edinburgh there. Salted licorice in pirate forms.
So I'm totally not sure about these.
So touchscreen, Pi, and then a mini black hat hacker with an Explorer hat. And the Node module you've written is specifically for the Explorer hat,
It
isn't
is
it?
specifically for the Explorer hat. So I've used... there's a couple of
Yeah,
Node
close.
modules out there, or three in fact, that I drew inspiration from.
Mm-hmm.
The first is the RPyGPO node, which uses a Python backend script. The second is the SenseHat node, which uses a Python backend script.
Yep.
And the third is the Pybrella node, which uses a Python backend script. So you
But-
can see there's a running theme.
Yeah, this is because kind of the whole Node thing. It's run on JavaScript, which in the browser is very asynchronous, isn't it?
Yeah,
You have to get
it's
used to this thing where you're firing messages
highly
and waiting for
event-driven, highly
things.
asynchronous. So
Yeah.
sequencing anything is problematic. The irony of this is, though, that the readings from Explorer Hat are quite asynchronous. They're quite event-driven. So there's actually loops running in Python that just generate messages that Explorer Hat is then passing on to Node via the Python file. So there really isn't any reason why Node.js couldn't talk directly to Explorer Hat. And I wrote a Node.js library that does just that.
Yep.
But the Python approach is a little bit easier to get installed, a little bit easier to get up and running, and doesn't rely on some of the kind of more extraneous choices you have to make in Node about which I2C library to use, which GPO library to use. Those are already kind of decided things on the Pi and with Python.
So is this kind of asynchronicity a function of it being I2C? Where you kind of,
I2C is an interesting one actually, because in Node.js, in order to read the ADC, if you try to read four things at once, four ADC channels, one after the other, what Node would effectively do is fire all those reads off at exactly the same time, effectively. There's no way to do a delay, and with this particular I2C chip, what you do is you send it a command that says, please acquire me an I2C reading from channel 1, and the chip will go away and go, I'm reading channel 1, I'm reading channel 1, and after a predefined window of time, it'll go, ha, the reading is, drum roll please, and at that point you have to go in and read back that reading. So you've got this space of time which in Python you would occupy with just a delay. So you'd say sleep for this many seconds. So in fact, it's going to be a fraction of a second in this case.
Yep.
So you say issue the command to generate an analog reading, sleep for this amount of time, and read the analog device. In JavaScript, or Node in this case, what you're doing is issuing that command to do a read, and then you're setting a timeout to read the data back from the analog device.
Okay.
And during that timeout, other things can happen.
Yep.
So your next read that you've issued will come along and it will happen in that timeout, and your next read will happen in that timeout, and your next read will happen in that timeout.
Yep.
And then they'll all have set up the different I2C channels that it wants to read, or the different analog channels it wants to read from, and then they'll all try and read at the same time. And what you'll end up with is that your last channel you try to read will be the one that you get returned back as all the values. So I had to set it up in such a way that it would set a flag saying that the ADC is busy. If the ADC is busy, then it will set a timeout and defer the next read until it's no longer busy. So it sort of sits there in a little recursive loop until the ADC is no longer busy. And so now when you read 4 channels at the same time, it goes, I'm waiting for it not to be busy. Now I can read. And it does that for each channel. And it's just little things like that with nodes that are inherently not... they're more complicated. They're inherently more complicated. You've got to think about things in a totally different way to how you have to think about Python. Python is all, it does one thing after another, and if you want to sleep for a period of time, you just sleep for a period of time and do absolutely nothing, and that's not a problem. Whereas in JS it's all single-threaded and totally asynchronous, and if you want to do something in an amount of time, you basically say, hey, remember to do this in a second, please, and it will go, yeah, I'll remember to do this in a second, and it'll go off and do some other stuff and be like, yeah, I'm doing this. I've got to do this.
A lot of our Python stuff is event-driven, though, isn't it?
There is a lot of event-driven Python stuff, but that generally uses another thread. It will go and stick another thread in there and have a while loop that will just say, keep doing this, keep doing this, keep doing this, keep doing this, keep doing this. So Python can be multi-threaded. And I believe Python actually has real multi-threading, in that you can actually have separate processes that start and finish at separate times and do separate things and live in their own separate little container, whereas Node.js, as I understand it, is all completely single-threaded. So when you say, I want to do this at this particular time, what you're actually doing is saying, wait for this amount of time while I do these other things and then do this.
Right.
And if your other things happen to conflict with the thing that you wanted to do after a certain amount of time, then that certain amount of time that you said to wait for might become slightly longer because you're doing something else and it can't trigger that event because you're doing something else.
So it's almost like one of those, like when you go into a shop and you get a ticket that has a number on it and you have to wait until that number gets called until you get
effectively
seen by the
you
person.
Have no way of telling how long the other people before you are going to take, and if they take too long, then it's a strange and wonderful and mythical place that really isn't well suited to reading kind of hardware devices.
Yep.
But it can be made to work.
So this setup we got here is kind of, it's running Node on the Pi, and then it's got the Explorer hat with the Python Node library you've made.
Node library.
Node library, and you've got a couple of LEDs.
Those are plugged into the outputs 1 and 4.
You've got the normal Explorer hat touchpads and LEDs, the blue ones flashing there. You've got a motor and you've got a joystick, right?
Joystick, yeah. So the joystick is just to indicate analog values being input into the system, and also a button press as well.
Yep. And this Node-RED server is then showing up a web page which we've got on the tablet, which is what you see in the bottom right of your screen. And that's got, touch button, receive bacon. And then what's this dashboard thing that keeps crashing?
It's crashed again. I think
the browser
graph
crashing
is
here,
just
though.
Killing it. Maybe we should just tell the graph to go away.
Yeah.
So the chart
is
currently charting analog values.
How does this dashboard get made? Is that automatic from Node?
The dashboard is actually a set of add-ons for Node, which I think were originally called Node-RED UI or something to that effect, but became Node Dashboard, Node-RED Dashboard. And these dashboard widgets are actually generated by creating a node. So let's get rid of the chart one because it slows everything down and replace it with something else. I mean,
charts.
Everyone's seen a chart happening. It's completely mad because it's getting some jitter from the analog things that aren't connected to anything, and then the real signals from the other analog values. So we'll get rid of the chart.
Wrecking the browser on the tablet.
Yeah, it's just hurting. So we'll get rid of the chart. But before we do that, let's just have a quick look at its settings. So you can tell it how big you want it to be in that grid of things that you see on the UI. You can tell it how much time you want it to display. So in this case, I've got the last 10 seconds because when you're wiggling around a joystick, things are happening pretty quickly.
Yep.
So that's basically the x-axis span.
Yeah.
How much time it spans.
And then your y-axis range is currently 0 to 5, which is 0 to 5 volts in this case. And then you've got various different interpolate methods. And I've just gone for linear, which will just draw a straight line between each dot.
If you want to follow along with Node-RED, then this current experimental one is on github.com/pimoroni/node-red nodes.
Yeah, node-red-nodes. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you can have a look at what Phil's done here, install that, and so here's Node-RED's kind of interface where you've basically got it's similar to Scratch in kind of ways. You've got inputs, you've got outputs, you've got functions, and you string them all together with this kind of lovely rubber band string stuff.
It's a lot like Flotilla, or a lot like Rockpool.
Yeah, there's lots of things around like this.
Inputs, modifiers, and outputs.
And you got the Raspberry Pi bunch down here, and hey, look, it's Explorer Hat.
Explorer Hat.
And you have Explorer Hat input and Explorer Hat output there.
So those have got documentation over here on the right in this info pane, which is super nice, having the inline documentation. That tells you how it uses. And I seem to have messed up an LT.
So if I look at their outputs, hey,
LQT.
I can choose which ones to get messages for, and then you do something with the messages.
So in this case, this particular rule up here is.
So you got
let's have
this
a look
here.
at the input.
You got the input.
So that's looking at touch events.
Do you want to stick this full screen because this is quite delicate, and we can take second place down in the bottom right. So you've got the touch events. So I clicked on this and I get touch events.
Subscribe to the touch events, yeah.
Yeah.
And in the documentation it says that when you get a touch event, its topic is set to Explorer Hat /touch, and then the channel of the touch event, and then the payload will be set to either 1 or 0, depending on whether it's on or off.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very like MQTT, which will have a topic to separate different messages, and then a payload, which will be the actual message data.
So this is going to a message.
That's going to that node there. The green one is in fact a debug node, so that's outputting any touch events to the debug window. So
can we see that
touch
happening?
here? You should see an absolute storm of touch events.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
And then it's also routing into the set message topic. So all that's doing
is a function, isn't it?
Yeah, that's like a modifier in Rockpool speak, I suppose. So that's changing the message topic from being the touch channel to being light for.
Okay.
So this is actually formatting the message to actually serve as turn a particular light on message on Explorer Hat.
You do this a lot in Node-RED as well, because you often get any kind of message coming on. A message coming in can be, say, a tweet or something, which obviously can be anything.
There seems to be no general consensus on how messages should be formatted, and the method.
This is why you have the function. You want to turn them into something very simple. Don't you?
I mean, you can use these simple functions that set a topic or change something with a find and replace, or you can write a totally custom function in JavaScript, which will do much more complicated things.
So essentially it's like if in Python. If something, then do something.
Yeah, so it's now outputting down to this Explorer Hat node. So once it's formatted the message topic, when we press a button, we get a 1. And if you now change that to be a light message, then that one will turn the light on. So we've got this green light over here, which is the one that's turning on when I press any button at the moment.
So yeah, that's the light for. That's the set message.
So we're taking the message from Explorer Hat, we're changing its topic, and then sending it straight back to Explorer Hat. So that when we get a 1, we're just redirecting it back and saying, turn that light on, so you can get this instantaneous, just turn the light on simplicity here.
Cool.
Okay. If you deploy to get rid of that horrible clutchy chart, which has been wrecking everything, and go back to the UX, we can now see some widgets and buttons and stuff. Hopefully this will refresh.
Yeah.
Second.
The tab might have crashed a little bit.
Yeah, try.
Control-Shift-T.
Yeah, you know the Chrome foo. Yeah, there we go. So these are some different widgets that you can use in the dashboard setup. It's like buttons which send a particular message when you click them.
Yellow one? Hey! Whoa, that's really quick.
It is.
I suppose it's on the machine.
Now it's got rid of the graph. It's really responsive.
Hey! Nice.
So you can see it turning the things on and off.
Yeah. And then
same with the motor. You drag the slider up to go. This is a really high gear ratio motor, so it's a terrible example.
Oh yeah. Yeah, stick it on the camera, Phil.
There we go.
Mm.
If you slide the slider the other way, the motor will turn the other way. Yay! If
Cool.
you slide it to about the middle, the motor will stop, because 0 is full stop.
Cool.
Yay.
There we go. Right, so that's dead simple, and you just have to know which nodes to connect to each other and process a load of
I've got
messages.
another one that takes the button from the joystick,
Where is that?
which must be down there. I think no, maybe it's to the right. It's to the right.
Can you
up
zoom
a
in
bit.
and out? Hey, you can zoom in
You
and
can
out.
zoom in and out. Yeah,
Woo, there we go.
that's slightly better. Yeah. So here we've got. This is Explorer Hat message, so it's getting input
So
events.
input
so
events.
it's reading this input. If I follow this line, I pulled all the wires out.
So on the Explorer hat, you've got inputs 1, 2, 3, and 4.
So this board, this little joystick board has a button on it, and
Mhm.
it select is the button thing, which is this purple wire here, which is going out into here with a pull-up resistor up to 5 volts,
Yep.
jumping over this grey wire and into input 1. So when this button is not pressed, it will be pulled up to 5 volts, and when I press the button, it will be pulled down to ground. And I've had to do some fiddling here with the message payload, because when the button is up, then the message you'll be getting is on, and when the button is down, the message you'll be getting is off. So I've wanted to invert these, and I've used a very messy, nasty way of inverting these, which is kind of a search and replace change. And
Okay.
I've searched for 1 and changed it to off, and searched for 0 and changed it to on, because Explorer Hat understands
Yeah.
both 1 and on as being on, and both 0 and off as being off.
Okay.
And if you try to do those two search and replaces sequentially and try and search 1 and replace it with 0, and then 0 and replace it with 1,
It'll
then
just
you're just going to replace your 1s with 0s and your 0s with 1s.
end up with
Nothing
zeros.
will happen. So this basically ends up giving us a button we can press to turn the red light on. That fiddling. I mean, normally in here where I put the change, you'll probably put something like a custom function that will say if I get a 1, then emit a message that says turn off. If I get a 0, then emit a message that says turn on.
And over here, you've got the one that's blinking the blue light, which is...
Yeah, so that is a very fine example of how blinking an LED is inherently complicated in Node.js. Because in order to blink an LED in Node-RED, what we have is an inject message that's set to run on an interval of every 2 seconds, and that is directly corresponds to the setInterval method in JavaScript and
Okay.
Node.js. And then we've got a second message that also runs every 2 seconds and sets an interval. And one of those turns the light on, one of those turns it off. So if they were both to run at the same time, then the light's going to flicker like crazy and do some
gonna
weird
get
stuff, and
On, off. On, off.
or basically be
On, off.
instantly on
Off,
and
on.
instantly
Yeah.
off, or you don't really know which is going to fire at which time because they're delayed. They've got a set timeout.
Yeah.
Um,
So Phil's
so in
only
order
just
to-
completed that, and that's why we have still have a Raspberry over here rather
yeah,
than a
we need
Pirate.
a pirate logo.
I'll have a Pirate. Arr. Yeah.
So to actually make it turn the LED on and then off, there's a delay of 1 second in there, which is analogous to a set timeout.
Yep.
So it's like every 2 seconds your set interval is expiring and then doing a set timeout of 1 second to turn the LED off. And also every 2 seconds your set interval is expiring and turning the LED on. And the net result is you get an LED that turns on and off and on and off once every second approximately. But because set interval isn't precisely timed, it's not exact.
I was going to say, yeah, because if they
drift.
got somehow created half a second apart, then they'd have a weird time-space
yeah,
ratio.
quite
wouldn't
so. And if they also fired at around the same time, then one of them is going to have to happen before the other because it's single-threaded, so they have to...
they? But it's approximately right, and it works really well.
It's
Cool.
approximately right enough to be interesting, yeah.
Yeah. So there, you can have a look at that on GitHub. That's
This is all the precursor to doing Node-RED nodes, maybe for some other of our projects. I mean, the people have asked
Yeah.
for Blinked, and Blinked will be relatively straightforward, so
Mhm.
we'll probably do Blinked.
Yep.
There's probably some other stuff that will be worth doing in Node-RED.
we promised Flotilla.
And absolutely, this is a precursor. The reason for doing this mainly is to learn enough about Node-RED to be able to do Flotilla.
And make sure Lucy Rogers doesn't make us get eaten by dinosaurs.
Yeah, we
Or
fully
destroyed by
expect an
robots.
analog joystick-controlled dinosaur now.
Yep. Yep. Pretty much, yeah.
A
Cool.
banging dinosaur.
So yeah, Phil, you fulfil our obligations. Well done.
Ta-da!
We now can show our face on the internet.
Again.
Yeah, brilliant.
Bro.
Okay, so let's have a look at the news roundup for this week. if anyone has any more questions, let us know, and we will do an updated Node-RED at some point after we've done all the other topics. Okay. Can we do a bit of a question for some stickers? Okay, I'm going to give away 5 stickers with blinks, and
5 stickers with blinks.
they will go to the first 5 people on chat. I really hope there's more than 5 people on chat who can answer me this question. It is going to be temporal based, but at least 5 people have a chance. What is the colloquial name for the base substance of mechanically recovered chicken? It was in the news like a year or 2 ago. There was a kind of fast food restaurants allegedly using it. What is the colloquial name for the mass that is produced from mechanically reclaimed chicken and then turned into nuggets?
There's a word for that.
It has a name.
Oh.
Yeah, and I bet you at least 5 people know it. Yeah.
Should we put the chat up on... Oh, we probably won't be able to.
We can probably try.
Have
Yeah.
we got it anywhere? By the time we do, they'll have all answered anyway, but at least we'll...
Yeah, well, you can see the history, can't you?
Well, we could point the close-up camera just directly at the chat screen.
Yeah, that would also work.
White slime.
Oh, that's close, but not quite right.
See, I think I know
Oh, there we go.
that. Is that? See, I thought it was something else. I'm
Mm.
not going to say what I thought.
The
it
trouble is
was,
that once someone answers it correctly, then everyone else is just going to come in with
Well,
the same answer.
yeah. And that's okay.
No.
Okay, apparently
2, 3.
there's 4,
We've got 3.
and now we have 5. Apparently white slime is also a thing, but we'll accept that as well as pink slime.
It
Looks a lot like soft serve.
Oh, I remember seeing that actually.
Mm.
I think that was in what was that film? The guy that only ate McDonald's for a month.
Supersize me.
That was
Oh,
the
yes.
It was on that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on Netflix.
So yeah, I think there's going to be no.
Admittedly, it probably does taste better than that stuff.
So if you can send your details to sandy@pimmeroni.com, he will get you your very early release pirate sticker.
Like the first 4 people are who are we going for?
First
here?
5.
First
Simon
5.
gets it. We're accepting white slime.
So
Apparently.
Simon Murphy, Alex Cruzen, Stuff with Kirby, Les Pounder, and
Sebastian Mas.
Mass.
Yep. Cool. Well done.
So
Get
you
your
guys-
details to Sandy, and we'll get you a blinked
Yeah.
and a couple of pirate stickers. Let's not be too parsimonious with them.
Yeah.
We'll probably be giving these away at events, but yeah, you get early access. Well done. Cool. Right, so news roundup. What have we got this week? This actually came out a couple of months ago, but we thought we'd mention it now.
I keep rabbiting on about this stuff.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
amazing.
MegaProcessor.
It's pretty cool.
So essentially, this is a guy that's built a computer. I guess the way they would have in the old days.
Yep.
So it's basically a computer that takes up a whole room.
It's just very discrete transistors.
Yeah.
Build it
And
all
it's-
out.
Look at
discrete
that.
parts,
It's
Spread
like
it
the-
out nicely. Compartmentalised it into separate frames that describe the various different functions. It's absolutely fantastic. And
Wow.
indicated all of the logic states throughout the whole thing with LEDs as well. So this probably causes the neighbourhood to
So-
drown out when you
Yeah, it's
send it.
basically built with these through-hole transistors and the whole
Yeah.
thing. Plus, he's got an LED connected to each transistor, so you can see the state as it changes. So the
Oh
whole
my
thing
God.
has.
Totally
I
crazy.
think there's a video.
I think
There was a video
project
further
was
up,
somewhere
yeah.
around
Yeah.
20 grand or something to put this
Oh,
thing
Hello,
Okay.
and welcome to MegaProcessor.
It plays Tetris.
Finished,
Yeah.
so I thought I'd take you
I
a little tour of
commented
it.
on his YouTube video asking where he
Just
stores
now
the
around
memory
about
state when
40,000
these games are actually
transistors.
running. Because those
Actually,
about
LEDs with the
10,000
Get
game
audio now
LEDs.
from these.
those are the
10
memory.
metres long
So that
2 metres tall,
bank of LEDs that have the
weighs about
game
half a
picture on,
tonne,
that's the main
and burns about
memory,
500 watts of
basically.
electricity.
And he's got it all
can run a-
separated into the different parts of the processor as well. So he's got the I can't remember the names of all. Yeah, so he's got the kind of arithmetic and
Arithmetic
logic
unit,
part.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And, you have
And then he's
the
got the
registers,
different
special
registers,
purpose and
yeah,
the general
special-
purpose
yeah.
registers.
Mm.
so,
Special
it's incredible.
purpose. So special purpose registers are things like registers that will indicate whether or not an arithmetic logic operation has failed or succeeded in certain ways, or whether it's gone negative and other stuff. And general purpose registers are ones where you just store values because you happen to be working. And yeah, the memory is super impressive because he uses it as an output device for a maze and stuff and all
Yeah.
sorts of other things. But
I'm
there is
guessing that's
another
not
memory
built.
chip on here.
with discrete transistors.
No, the monitor is in fact just a regular monitor.
Yeah. You better have somewhere to
Presumably
work.
some way to interface with it and upload code, I should suspect.
Yeah, that's a labour of love and a half.
It is.
Wow. So yeah, well done there.
Mad.
That's a project.
This is this is one that I came across on Twitter. It's kind of I guess it's not kind of it's more kind of programming related, but it's this guy that's basically written all of the kind of back end of it
Generate random points.
in Python, and then he's got a kind of JavaScript kind of app that kind of runs the Python back end and then displays the output. He's also got a Twitter account that every hour tweets one of these randomly generated maps. So essentially it's like a set of fairly basic rules that are randomly generating a landscape
Copy a height map from
and then
above.
drawing contours around it and drawing things like coasts and rivers and labelling kind of nodes on the map and stuff like that. It's amazing. It's
Really
really
quite cool. And it's very well explained as well. I think
Yeah.
I saw this on Hacker News and just sat there going through all of these on my phone.
Yeah. It's
Right.
really cool.
And basically now we have a coast. Add some more cities, man. Add some more cities. We want this to be a heavily contested fantasy environment full of blood and strife. There we go. And then
Wow.
we can copy that above.
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm going for that city because it's got a little offshore island that
I love
can
that
control.
he
Your city is called Sharon.
even randomly
Shower.
generates the names of the cities and the towns on it as well. It's very cool. Yeah.
Yes, does this. This is somewhere in Poland, isn't it? Yeah. There we go.
Pepnime.
Mm.
Test Sisu.
Cool. Yeah.
So
That's interesting.
That's good fun.
Yeah.
Super cool.
It's nice work.
This is one that I think Phil came across.
I don't even know. I think this might have been tweeted or on Hacker News or something, but I saw some pretty pictures and I clicked it and I saw the word synth and it looked interesting. It's very abstract and very hipster, but it's quite cool. You're interconnecting these blocks are just abstract artsy shapes and they're generators like a tone generator or a sample player, and then filters like your gate filter or your envelope filter or your
Distortion.
Cool.
distortion and other stuff.
So-
And it's,
Yeah,
Works.
it's really good fun.
So you
Very
actually
super
play with
cool.
it at
so this is
blockdust.com.
a web app basically that allows you to do this stuff.
Again,
Probably
it's-
follow the tutorial that people.
It's all JavaScript, isn't it?
There you go.
Yeah, grab a source, like just get a simple tone generator from the left,
Yeah. Drag it down.
drag it on there, and then get interaction and grab a keyboard,
And then
stick
just-
that
yeah.
next to it, and
So-
then you can go beep, and everyone will be deafened with horrible noise. And then if you go to effect, you get something like, well, what do you want?
Chorus.
Chorus, yeah, go for that. Yeah, it should
And
do
now
it.
when you press the key, it should sound chorusy.
Of course we
Of
can't
course
hear what
we
it's-
have no idea what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Need
That's
to
the
get a
feedback.
combo output device on this so you can
Yes.
hear it at the same time.
So they can just make a bit of a Mondrian
Yeah.
and all that and just...
I don't quite understand the power stuff and the idea that you shoot things at
Yeah, they
modules.
have particle emitters which basically shoot out particles, and you can aim them at the tone block so that every time a particle hits the tone block, it plays a tone.
That's
Laser!
laser.
yeah. So again, lasers kind of similar, except that it's kind of constantly firing.
Yeah.
But then you can connect other blocks up to the laser to make it pulse and stuff like that. So it's very cool. You can also load in your own samples to kind of use them as noises that get played.
I can make an AC rotating laser.
So now,
Okay.
now what you do is put your tone blocks around the laser and it goes boop 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 boop.
Yeah, it's not making any sound, but it reckons it is. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Let's close that
Sounds
down.
very cool.
There's a link below here as well to the live coding device that we've done in collaboration with Yaksu Human Studio Computer Club, Algorave live coding device that will be coming soon to the backers of the crowdfunding campaign. And they spent ages kind of accumulating zeros at a very slow rate, just so we could actually build the devices for them. It was all very much a labour of love. But Alex is he's an algo rave pioneer, and he's got this album. It'll have the album on the device, but also you plug it in and it's a live coding device.
So essentially it's a Pi Zero with a fat DAC on
What
top.
was that
Fat DAC,
early
yeah.
album that came on like an Arduino or something that just had the entire album on a single chip and you wired it up and connected some speakers to it and it just played? I can't remember what that was, but
Yeah,
it was an
it's a similar
on-chip
thing. But he's using it here in this YouTube
Few
video
years
linked
ago.
below. You can watch him kind of doing his thing on a couple of them to make sounds and do the whole algo thing very well. He was there at EMF camp doing stuff, and yeah, Alex is just a super nice chap and also a pioneer of computer generated music live. And people being in dark rooms looking at people live coding until it stops making fart sounds.
I've
Cool.
been doing that with Python and SID chips actually.
Yeah. In yet more
Oh,
stuff that just
yes.
randomly appeared. This popped up today on the internet. So this is made by, or it's being pushed by some folks who make a Bluetooth retro gamepad.
Yeah.
So you might have seen them around. They look like NES pads, but not quite. And they just connect via Bluetooth. And because they're at this show, there's currently a big show in Germany, isn't there, about retro gaming, and they've just kind of just
Gamescom.
push this out there and say, hey, look at this.
The Open Pandora guys will be there.
I can't decide if I like it or not.
It's got certain things. I wouldn't personally want it.
Yeah, it's a bit weird looking at it. I think they've got another photo where you can see it from the side, and it's kind of like a... Yeah, so this one here on the right-hand
You've
side.
got to have somewhere to keep your baguette, man.
The whole thing's like a kind of tube that's been squashed and then curled round.
Yeah.
And it's
It's a
bit
lovely
weird.
finish, though.
The actual manufacturing of that must have been something.
I don't- yeah,
It's
I
just
was-
opinionated.
I was wondering how they actually made it.
I think they've just got laminated flats and put them together like that,
Yeah.
and then smoothed them down.
Right.
Because you can see kind of the way the grain runs there.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the only way I think of doing it, particularly.
They don't say what's inside it though. I'm kind of intrigued to know what's inside it.
Probably a pie. I don't know.
Pie cage.
Something else. 6 buttons and the 7th button there. Anyway, yeah,
So that's quite cool.
it's
Well
a
done.
nice piece of work
James has some very insightful input.
on the chat there. Also, we had Aki, who we know from Japan. He's generally enthusiastic about stuff, and here's a Microdot Fat being used as a price sticker in a comic book store.
It's very cool.
on the bottom.
The Japanese characters look really cool on them.
Yeah.
Microdot Fat as well. It's
Didn't realise it'd be good enough for that, but
Yeah.
apparently it's perfectly good for showing Japanese characters as a price label.
Sweet.
What an excellent use of it. Although he needs to go over Microdot Fat with a black marker, just so it looks a bit more tasteful and understated.
That's true.
But thanks for tweeting that, Aki. Yeah, I think that's about all we've got to go through this week. The links are below the YouTube video. And yeah, if you're following us on Facebook, thanks for watching. We'll start trying to...
Oh yeah, Facebook people will have to kind of engage.
Yeah.
There is a chat
Hey!
on Facebook, right? Isn't there?
Aki!
Yay! Hello.
Assuming you've got the same avatar there. Yeah, looks the same to me. Hey!
Could be.
Konnichiwa!
Also, hi Ace Bros, who is first time in live.
Cool.
We
Right.
like people.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning in, and as usual, don't forget to like,
Comment.
And subscribe.
and we'll see you next week when hopefully John will be back, and we'll be having. We're probably going to talk about USB connectors and the use thereof. Somebody had kind of admonished us on Twitter.
For creating an evil USB cable that is not a
Yeah.
USB cable.
Well, no, there is some point there. There is a debate to be had for sure. But since we've got a YouTube channel, we can put our case out there
USB
and just talk
spec
through.
is so rigid. We won't want to.
No, there are reasons not to do it, but yeah, we think we did the right thing or did the wrong thing the right way. But we'll be talking about that on YouTube. Really, just to kind of explain ourselves.
It's
and
a tale behind design choices in Flotilla, really, I think, is where it all began. So
Yeah,
it's
just
an interesting
hacking.
thing to go through.
neat hacks.
Bear with us.
Neat hacks. Right, see you next week, folks.
Bye. Do you want to press the button?
FTB, right in the middle of the screen.
Press the button.
Fade to black.
Press the button.
No, that's just a fade.
No. Wait a second.